In Ukraine, one weapon has revolutionized the battlefield, the drone. It's affordable, accurate, and widely available. Many are now resistant to advanced jamming. In southern Ukraine, local officials are using a simple method to try to stop them.
Look at these images carefully. Is a city in Ukraine called Orihiv, just a few kilometers from the Russian lines. Before the war, 14,000 people lived here. Today, only a few hundred remain. Walking on the main street, carrying groceries, going back home, living his normal routine. But look up, see what's covering the whole street. Nets. Hundreds of meters of nets stretch from building to building, covering every street, every intersection, every entrance. The Ukrainian soldiers who installed these nets call it the life tunnel, but...
¿Por qué?
What are these people protecting themselves from? The answer is in the sky. Drones, dozens of them, hundreds of them flying low, looking for targets, people, cars, anything that moves. And these nets, many of them donated by fishermen from France, Sweden. The nets are practically invisible to drone cameras. A Russian drone flies in this direction at 100 kilometers per hour, carrying 5 kilograms of explosives. It doesn't see the net until it's too late. The propellers spin, the drone falls. The person on the street below survives. But that's not the only solution that Ukraine found, because the nets work here in the cities, but the soldiers in the trenches and the soldiers in the open field can't carry 100 meters of network with them. They needed something else, something portable, something that works in the last fraction of a second, and they created it. What you are about to discover will surprise you. To understand why Ukraine needed to develop these two solutions, you need to understand the big problem they are facing. The year was 2022. On February 24, Russia invades Ukraine.
Uses its strength and invades Ukraine by land, air, and sea, and by several border points, including by its neighbor Belarus. First wave of attacks was of cruise missiles, artillery, and air bombings. There was the destruction of dozens of military targets and civilian losses.
In the beginning, no one expected drones to dominate this war. Of course, there were military and reconnaissance drones, large, costly, and sophisticated. But what changed everything were first-person view drones. First-person view means first-person view. They are small, fit in a backpack, are cheap, cost between $500 and $1,000 to build. Some cost even less, and are deadly. They first-person view 3 to 5 kilograms of explosives. It flies at more than 100 kilometers per hour, faster than a car on the road. The operator controls it with goggles, seeing exactly what the drone is seeing. It's like a video game, but the target is real and people die. In the middle of 2023, Russia was launching 500 drone attacks a day. Ukraine tried everything. Electronic warfare disrupted the drone's signal, causing it to fall, but the Russians adapted. They started using optical fiber cables, physical cables connecting the drone to the operator. As thin as a strand of hair, extending for dozens of kilometers across the battlefield, you can't interfere with a physical cable. Anti-aircraft, you have missiles. It doesn't work economically. Each missile costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some exceed $500,000. You can't use a $500,000 missile against a $1,000 drone. Ukraine would be broken in weeks. The soldiers needed something else, something simple, something that works, something cheap. It was when two solutions came up, one to protect cities, another one to protect the soldiers. And both used the same basic idea: nets, yes, nets. Let's start with the cities. Spring of 2024. A small fishing village in Brittany on the west coast of France. A fisherman named Gérard Ledouf has a problem. His region produces 800 tons of old fishing nets per year. 800 tons, nobody wants them. Recycling companies have closed. The nets pile up, then he gets a call. It's from Ukraine. They need many nets, not for fishing, but for protection, resurrection. Gerard doesn't hesitate. If they need our nets to save lives, he says, they can have them.
Thank you to the people who make air defense systems and to ordinary people, but with extraordinary vision and warmth, who support us so much. To you and to the fishermen, your help really matters.
Industry. These aren't ordinary nets, they're horsehair nets designed for deep-water monkfish trawling, built to withstand powerful fish, fish that weigh dozens of kilos and fight with brutal strength, fish that hit with force similar to drone impacts. The nets are packed, loaded onto trucks, and begin a 2,300-kilometer journey across France, through Germany, through Poland to the Ukrainian border. Zaporizhia and Kherson are the destinations. Kostyantynivka, Orihiv, cities under constant drone attack. And it's not just France that got involved. Sweden also sent networks, Denmark and the Netherlands. Also, hundreds of tons of old fishing equipment, gear that was going to be thrown away, now crossing Europe to save lives. In Sweden, an organization called Operation Change coordinated the donations. The co-founder Ludwig Ramstein tells a story, one that shows why this works. Was severely reduced. The people inside the car survived. Without the nets, they would be dead. In Orihiv, Ukrainian soldiers work in temperatures above 30 degrees, stretching these nets over entire streets, between buildings, over market squares, and at hospital entrances. It's heavy physical work, dangerous because while they're installing the nets, they're exposed to drones themselves.
Kosovo filming took place.
It doesn't work perfectly, no, but they significantly reduce successful attacks. The Ukrainian army has a name for these protected areas: anti-drone corridors. And according to military sources, the number of successful enemy attacks along routes protected by nets drops significantly. It doesn't eliminate the risk, but it reduces it. And in a drone war where you face hundreds of attacks per day, reducing means saving lives. But the nets over cities only solve part of the problem, because soldiers in the trenches don't have buildings to stretch nets over. Soldiers in the open field can't carry 100 meters of fishing net on their backs. They need to move. They need to fight. And when a first-person view drone appears out of nowhere, diving at 100 kilometers per hour, they have seconds, not minutes, seconds. They needed something different, something portable, something a man can carry, something that works. In the last split second, that's when Ptashka came in. April 2024, a company called Ptashka Drones is registered in Kyiv, Ukraine. Ptashka means little bird in Ukrainian. The founder is Rostislav Petrakov, and his idea is simple, almost obvious. When you think about it, if nets work in cities, why not create a weapon that shoots nets? The concept sounds simple, and it is, but simple doesn't mean easy to make. Here's how the Ptashka works. It looks like a plastic gun. You attach a cartridge to the barrel, and inside this cartridge is a net. A net that's 3.5 meters by 3.5 meters, about the size of a small room. It's stored folded, compressed, and ready for use. You see a drone coming, you raise the weapon, you aim, you pull the trigger, compressed air fires the cartridge. The net flies out, unfolds in the air in less than a second, and opens to its full size. If you fired at the right time, you aimed correctly. The net catches the drone, the propellers get tangled, stop spinning, the drone loses lift and falls. The range is about 25 to 30 meters. Think of it like the distance between your house and your neighbor's house across the street. It's not much. But for a first-person view drone diving straight at you, 30 meters is the difference between life and death. And here's the most important part. The cost. Each net cartridge costs about $36. Let's put this into perspective. A portable electronic warfare system costs more than $50,000. An anti-aircraft missile costs more than $500,000. A Ptashka net cartridge, $36. The complete weapon itself costs between $190 and $470 depending on the configuration. It comes with 6 training cartridges and 2 combat cartridges, and it's reusable. Reload time is 20 to 30 seconds. It is not classified as a firearm under Ukrainian law. Anyone can carry it. In March 2025, the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense officially approved Ptashka for military use. The soldiers started calling it the last chance weapon. But would it really work when it really matters, in real combat, under pressure, with a Russian drone diving at you at 100 kilometers per hour? The answer arrived on September 1, 2025. Somewhere on the Eastern Front, the footage you're about to see is real. This isn't a test or demonstration, it's combat. A Ukrainian soldier is in a defensive position. You can see him in the footage, then you hear that sound. The electronic buzzing is unmistakable. A Russian first-person view drone coming in fast, the soldier doesn't panic, determined for this. But training is never the same as the real thing. It never reaches the same obstacles. His movements are deliberate, firm, and as the drone is approaching, the drone is maybe 50 meters away, then 40. The buzzing gets louder. The soldier tracks the movement, follows the trajectory. He has one chance if he misses. The drone hits him with 5 kilos of explosives. At this distance, it's lethal. He pulls the trigger. The net fires. Woo! 3.5 meters, the net flies toward the drone. The propellers get tangled instantly. It hits the ground a few meters from the soldier and explodes, but the soldier is alive, standing, unharmed. The channel Ptashka Systems posted this video with a simple caption saying, "Resolute, brave, and cold-blooded, but the story of Ptashka doesn't end there." The Ukrainians discovered another use, a use that shows how brutal and creative this war is at the same time. The Russians developed a tactic called loitering drones, ambush drones. It works like this. An first-person view drone lands near a road that the Ukrainians use. The operator turns off the engines and the drone stays there, silent, invisible, waiting sometimes for hours. When a Ukrainian vehicle passes by, the operator reactivates the drone, turns it on, takes off, and attacks. It's lethal, efficient, and hard to detect, but Ptashka has developed a counter-tactic. They use their own drones, Ukrainian drones, equipped with net cartridges. These drones fly over the roads, over the spots where Russian drones usually set up ambushes, and when they find a loitering drone on the ground, they drop a net. The net falls like a parachute, covers the Russian drone, gets tangled in the propellers even before the drone tries to take off. The ambush drone is trapped, neutralized, it can't fly, it can't attack, and the best part is, the Russian operator doesn't know. He keeps sitting in some bunker miles away, looking at the screen, waiting for a target, wasting operational hours while his drone is there, covered by a net, unable to move. Ptashka Systems explains the advantage. The drone remains in ambush. The operator wastes time waiting for a target, and when the target appears, the drone can't take off. As you can see, these low-tech solutions are working. They're saving lives right now, and they cost almost life goes on, people walk the streets, shops are open, some children have returned, but above next video.